Hey, good morning. Let's go over today's trade plan. So in the overnight session, we saw that ES gapped lower and tested the 24.75 to 26.75 support, where responsive buyers were active, and ever since putting in that low, the market has been balancing and breaking out to higher prices, and at this point has made its way back up to the low volume node from Friday's sell-off at 46 quarter and back within Friday's range. So overall, even though the market opened on a gap lower, the buy side has been more dominant and more active in the overnight session. And looking at the other markets, Nasdaq has held up really well. NQ is, back up near trading near Friday's first hour high and even pushing beyond that. So NQ is looking fairly strong. And heading into the open, S&P can quite easily test the 48 quarter to 50 quarter pre-market resistance and does not necessarily have to stop there. The primary upside objective and really the main resistance area on the day is going to be at 52.5 to 54.5, and that's a zone where sellers can be active on first test, and then the market can kind of consolidate a bit more and perhaps balance. But in the event that ES actually slices through 52.5 to 54.5, then we're probably heading back up towards the recent swing highs around 60 to 62.5. A breakout above 52.5 to 54.5 will tell you that this is a fairly strong market, and again, that would bring 57 quarter Friday's high and 60 to 62.5 into play. But given the overnight gap lower, given that there is no big catalyst on the day time frame today, the expectation is that 52.5 to 54.5 will serve as a active resistance zone first test, and it is a spot where we could see some aggressive selling coming into the market. And as the S&P tests the initial resistance zone, most likely NQ will be trading up near its recent swing high around the 42.85 to 42.86 quarter, kind of that area, and that can be a spot where sellers step in NQ, and at the same time we see some selling come into the S&P. It doesn't mean that the entire overnight session has to reverse or anything. That's yet to be seen, but that 52.5 to 54.5 resistance can be a hurdle on the way up, and so it's something to be aware of, right? And it could be a short setup as well, first time up. But right now, heading into the open, the buy side has been more dominant. Overall, we know that bigger picture, the buyers have been more dominant recently, and the bias has been bullish, and that has played out in the overnight session. But now that the market has moved from the lows around 25, back up towards 46 quarter, now we could start seeing some sellers enter the market. So as we push higher into pre-market resistance, initial resistance, we could see some more selling come into the market, and then the market can just kind of consolidate and balance for at least the next couple of hours. So the overall view is that bigger picture, buyers are still in control. Short term, the markets are essentially testing some resistance areas and still trying to figure out the longer time frame bias and whether we're going to be breaking out bigger picture and heading back up towards the all-time highs, or whether this is going to be a intermediate top and then we get some more selling in the market. So right now you really have to be flexible. It requires a flexible mindset. You need to be willing to adjust your bias intraday, because the market can pull back quite easily to 38 quarter to 40 quarter, possibly even 34 quarter, 36 quarter, and then find buyers there, and then just balance in a wider range. But the immediate bias right now is bullish. The buyers have been dominant overnight, so on the short side, the best thing is to be a bit more patient. And if you're looking to short the market, which is certainly an idea that can work today, then the 52.5 to 54.5 is really the spot where the sellers are going to have the best odds of getting some rotation or getting a failure for a pullback towards perhaps Friday's lows, or near that 38 quarter to 40 quarter, maybe 44, something like that. So 52 half to 54 half is the spot where the probabilities favor the sell side, and that's something we will gauge in real time. As long as there's not any huge momentum behind the move, that's a trade we'll consider. But if we do break out above it, then 60 to 62 half is going to be the next hurdle. And again, that's a spot where sellers can be fairly active. On the downside, 34 quarter, 36 quarter is a important support area, and if buyers are to really maintain control, then we don't want to see ES breaking below that. Ideally, ES actually holds above even pre-market support for buyers to remain in control, but 34 quarter, 36 quarter is a pretty important spot. Below that, we're going to use 25 to 27 as the overall bull bear zone to establish our overall bias, bigger picture, and from here, as long as 25 to 27 doesn't break, we could still be stuck in an upper balance, and buyers can still step in on any pullbacks and then push the market back up towards the top of Friday's range, or 52 half to 54 half. So bigger picture, 25 to 27 is very important, but short term, that initial support zone at 34 quarter to 36 quarter is really going to be key. So those are really the primary areas we're looking at. Overall, bias remains bullish. Short term, buyer still dominant, and we could see a push higher. But then, the sellers can still be active at 52 half to 54 half. So that's really the main idea heading into the open. Once the market opens, we'll get a good gauge of broad market strength. And if we are going to push through initial resistance, then we do need to see a strong advanced decline. We need to see some strong momentum that's sustained and continuing to get an upside push. And if those factors aren't really active in the market, then it's going to be more of a balanced type market, in which case you don't want to buy too high, and it's best to wait for a pullback and then try to trade those rotations on the pullbacks. So those are the main thoughts. Let's see how well the buy side holds it up off the open, and we'll take it from there.